What are the questions that still remain about the monarchy now and about Kate in this perspective?
This is a pivotal moment for the royal family in so many ways. And the reason for that is that we have this dual diagnosis of cancer. Kate, the Princess of Wales, and earlier, as who was mentioning, the King. There's been considerable speculation, Alex, in the UK that what we were going to see is potentially an acceleration of a handing over of power between the sovereign and his son, the King and the Prince of Wales. This will significantly complicate this process. This was a process that was expected to happen over the next 5 years. There is an expectation now, there was an expectation that this would be accelerated due to the King's diagnosis. We still don't know exactly what the situation and the diagnosis is for the King. This will make it much more difficult now for the royal family to manage that overlap generation to generation. And it will also mean that there's going to be a significant gap in those carrying out royal duties. There was an expectation that the royal family would become a much tighter core group. Does that process now widen out to include others, which will raise questions about who will be included in that wider group? So there's a lot of questions here in terms of what happens with the King, the next generation, Catherine, her diagnosis and how that complicates that, and what ultimately this process will mean for the wider royal family. So there's a lot of unanswered questions here this evening about what is going to happen next.
What we do know, and Tiwa, you referenced this, the communications policy over at the palace has been, well, it's left something to be desired, right? Because there are a lot of misfires in terms of what was happening, especially with the photo that the palace basically released to the public that raised more questions than answers. My understanding is that Kensington Palace is looking to hire someone in a communications role to kind of shore that up. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the palace are characteristically quiet about these sorts of announcements, but there has definitely been a lot to be desired with the communications approach thus far. I definitely think that the palace will be working to sort of alleviate some of those issues. Certainly, they wouldn't have wanted to see the just level of speculation that has been rife on social media, a number of conspiracy theories. But actually, you can see that they have slightly changed tactic with this announcement from Kate. If we compare it to the announcement of the King's diagnosis of cancer in February, that was quite a relatively short statement, about 3 paragraphs from the palace. Comparing that with the very personal video that we've seen from Kate herself speaking to us, it's clear that perhaps they are moving down a more personal route in terms of their communications on this matter going forward. And no doubt that will continue to change as they continue to grapple with this topic, as Kate continues to be absent from her work in the next few weeks and the next few months as well.